Today I'm making this short video on global economic prediction for 2025. I'm making a very important prediction based on historical astrological transits and what has been happening. We are going to witness a similar phenomena in the year 2025 when Rahu and Ketu change signs and they move into Aquarius and Leo respectively. And this is not a good phase for the economy as a whole. US, Western countries, Asia Pacific, and as far as a global economic standpoint is concerned. I have taken into account historical transits along with some major economical downturns and events that have happened around the globe. The intention of making this video is just to create a sense of awareness so that we are prepared for certain difficult times. Momentarily, this year for the next few months is going to be difficult from an economic standpoint. And yes, we've been witnessing in the news with regards to certain decisions being taken with the tariff related decision that came in place when Mercury was going retrograde and debilitated, and that was then put on hold when Mercury went direct in the sign of Pisces. And Mercury represents trade. Now, here I'd like to share with you that in 1997 and 1998, there was an Asian financial crisis. And what happened during the Asian financial crisis? The stock market went down. The currencies of many of the Asian countries were devalued to a great extent. This was the biggest Asian financial crisis. It began in July 1997 in Thailand and it gradually spread across the Asia Pacific. Now, what happened after that? There was a devaluation of most Asian currencies. The stock market was down and it also affected other assets. Now, one of the biggest boost that was in the demand of gold. So gold saw an increase by 21% in 97-98, but the prices fell record low at that point in time. The astrological significance: Rahu and Ketu were in Aquarius and Leo in July 1997, while Saturn was in Pisces and Jupiter was in Capricorn. It was debilitated. Now, during this transit, when Rahu and Ketu were in Aquarius and Leo and Jupiter was debilitated, it did have an impact on the global financial ecosystem. Now, let me share with you another instance. Let's go back a few years, in which we call as the double dip recession, which happened between 1979 to 1983. And this was by far one of the greatest low from an economic standpoint, from a financial market standpoint. It all began with the Iranian revolution that led to the disruption in oil prices between these phases. So oil prices did see a significant change. This was one of the steepest economical decline. If you see this graph here, year on year, when did the globe witness a recession situation? And this by far was one of the steepest decline. Okay, more than what happened in 2007, 2008, more than what happened in early 90s. The gold prices inflated by 100%. There were certain measures that was taken into account by the US, and this was by far one of the steepest increase in the history, though historically gold prices currently are at its peak. But in a year, the steepest rise was in 1980, 1981. The US and global economy recovered very well in 1984, and this is something which you can see here by the graph. There was a very good recovery that happened. From an astrological point of view, Rahu and Ketu were again in Aquarius and Leo, and Jupiter and Saturn were conjoined with Ketu. So the big reason for the great decline, and the reason why I'm probably pointing out to this particular transit, that historically, whenever Rahu and Ketu have moved in Aquarius and Leo, it has momentarily caused a global financial turmoil because these two signs are very karmic, and I'll explain it to you towards the end of the video. Now, let's take a look at what happened a few years after the recession that many of us would remember, 2007 to 2009 recession. So it started in December 2007 and it did have an impact globally in terms of financial markets, job loss. Some of the numbers that I'm presenting here, housing prices were declined. There was a lot of disruption around the market. Towards the end of 2007, it started and it quickly grappled the world. Markets fell, there was rise in unemployment, there was mass layoff. Astrology significance was that Rahu and Ketu were again in Aquarius and Leo. Saturn was conjoined Ketu in the sign of Leo, and Jupiter was in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a dual sign. Though Jupiter was in its own sign here, but Saturn was conjoined Ketu. So whenever one of these planets have been in conjunction with the nodes or have been in a weak state, the impact has been far greater from an historical point of view. The first example that I shared with you, where Jupiter was debilitated in Capricorn. The second example, both Jupiter and Saturn were conjoined Ketu in the sign of Leo. And in this example of 2007 to 2009 recession, there was Saturn conjoined Ketu. Now let's try and understand the state of world economy in 2025-2026. So in the month of May, Rahu and Ketu are again going to be moving in the sign of Aquarius and Leo for the next 18 months. The world will witness an economic recession between July through October 2025. This is a prediction which I am making based on astrological facts, based on certain research that I have done in similar transits, and I do anticipate and hope that my prediction goes wrong. We should not have so much of an impact. But of course, the globe is looming towards a recession kind of situation. It is going to severely impact a number of countries. I do hope that we recover from this situation very soon. There will be key banking and financial policy measures that will come in place. Global leaders will try to aim for a quick recovery, for a faster recovery. But yes, there will be rise in unemployment. Layoffs are expected to rise over the next 12 to 18 months. So this is one space that we have to watch out carefully. Gold prices will witness some volatility this year. I would expect a significant increase, much more than what it is today in late 2026. And from an economics point of view, we would expect economy to bounce back. Significant growth is expected post June 2026. This is when Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Cancer. And I would expect this recession to last for about 7 to 8 months. I do not expect a huge impact. The only commonality here is that Rahu and Ketu are in Aquarius and Leo. Jupiter is in Gemini, which is a dual sign, and Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, which is again in dual sign. So both Jupiter and Saturn are making transit in dual signs, and Rahu and Ketu are making a transit here. Jupiter is aspecting natal Rahu by the ninth aspect. So I would expect this period of 7 to 8 months, starting July 2025, to be challenging for the globe from an economics point of view. From a financial point of view, we could expect layoffs, we could expect rise in unemployment. See, these two signs, Leo and Aquarius, are very karmic signs. These are heavy signs. Firstly, no planet, no planet gets exalted or debilitated in these signs. Another common factor is that Leo, the fourth house of Leo, which is ruled by Mars, and ninth house of Leo is ruled by Mars again. Fourth lord and the ninth lord of the sign of Leo is same, that is Mars. The planet that represents father and mother is the same. Aquarius, if I give you an example, the fourth house lord, which is the sign of Taurus, and the ninth house lord, which is the sign of Libra, is the same, that is Venus. So from that point, these are the two signs where the fourth lord and the ninth lord, one of the Kendra house, one of the trinal house, it is the same planet. So these two signs are very heavy. They are karmic. Leo is ruled by Sun, who is the king. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, who is the kingmaker. There is a co-lord of Aquarius who is Rahu. So it has two lords. So one is the king, the other is the kingmaker. 5 and 11, natural axis rules future, it rules finances, it rules gains. So it could bring significant financial shifts. What we should do, this is very important for us to understand what you could do, and I could give you some tips in terms of helping you through these challenging times. Firstly, you must secure your job. So, any decisions pertaining to a job change, if it is in the best interest of your future, if you're getting into more towards stability, you must go for a change. Otherwise, think about it. You must continuously learn and upskill yourself. So, if you're not upskilling yourself, if you're not learning about AI, and if you're not changing yourself with times, then it's going to be very difficult for us to survive in these transforming times. It is very important for us to have a side hustle, or if you can wear multiple hats, because we are living in a world where we will thrive on multitasking. We will thrive on having a side hustle. Regardless of you being in a job, pick up something on the side that you think aligns in the best interest with your talent, with your potential, with your experience, and what you enjoy doing as well. Prioritize your savings, save as much as you can to transition through the difficult times. I would say that the ideal situation is that we should have about 6 months of backup to take care of our daily expense, even if we're living hand to mouth. Invest wisely and for long term. There are no shortcuts to investment. The situation is going to be quite volatile, but you would expect significant growth in the second half of 2026. Build your assets. If you have not done so far, that is something which is most important, most crucial, and most importantly, follow the right astrology guidance in terms of helping you sail through some of these times. Once again, my intent to come up with this video was to create a sense of awareness, bring in some historical astrology transits for you and what we can expect over the next few months. I hope my prediction goes wrong and we do not have the global economy suffer so much, but looking at some of the events that have taken place, I believe a number of people are already having this clear understanding that this kind of a situation is going to come under effect. And we're also living in the world wherein it's quite dangerous because just by one statement, by one decision, there is a huge economical shift, there's a huge financial shift, and that is not good for the financial ecosystem, that is not good for the geopolitical ecosystem. Now, to close on a good note, I'd like to share a beautiful prayer to Lord Vishnu for sustenance. It goes Madhyata Vyadipam Dugdha Sindhu Kanyadvam Dhiya Dhiyayami Sadvaham Buddhi Shuddhi Vridhi Chasiddhe. This prayer is about strengthening your pillars, the four houses of your chart, the Kendra houses, the first house of enlightenment, the fourth house of purification, the seventh house of improvement, and the 10th house of perfection. Therefore, helping you to focus very strongly on dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the four purusharthas or the four pillars of your life. And if you protect your four pillars, if you focus on your Kendra houses from an astrological point of view, you would be able to sail through any challenging or difficult times in your life because towards the end, karma definitely is our birthright, but we do not have any rights on the fruits. Keep on doing good karmas, keep on doing good deeds in your life, and may the blessings and teachings of Lord Krishna continue to guide us in the right direction. Thank you very much. God bless you all.